Hi, I'm Dave, Fell Running Guide. I recently got back from doing the Cumbria Way over 5 days. Before I went, I posted that I was doing it fairly lightweight with a lightweight pack, just a 30 litre pack. And lots of people asking me what kit I was taking. They wanted to know what was going to be in that pack. So I thought I'd do a little video showing what I took, what I liked, what I didn't like, what worked, what didn't, maybe if there was anything that I regretted taking or not taking. So I've got the pack on. It's the Rab Vale 30 litre pack, and I've got pretty much everything in it that I took with me, and I'm dressed in the same clothing that I used for the trip. So let's have a bit of a look at exactly what my gear is. Okay, so I'm wearing what I wore whilst I was walking, just simply a long sleeve running top. I chose a zip so that I could unzip to let a bit of the heat out if needed. Running shorts, running socks, and I went with trail running shoes. So these are the Innovate X Talon. Worked perfectly fine, happy with that. On the front, I just carried a little race bum bag, just for stuff that I wanted to access immediately. So in here, I just had my wallet, a bit of cash and card, phone, a couple of snacks to eat on the way, and then I had some sun cream and some electrolyte tablets just to drop into my water when I was refilling. So that was that. It's just an old Innovate, probably 1 litre bum bag. So that was on the front. And then onto the pack itself. Now the weather forecast was for it to be 5 days like this, dry and sunny. So that did influence to a certain extent what I took with me. But we'll have a look. So first of all, mention the pack. It's the Rab Vale 30. The reason I took it is there's lots of storage around it as well as the main compartment, and that's what I wanted. And it's also got good storage at the front for water bottles and that kind of thing. The tent, I took this, which is the Nordisk Telemark 1 lightweight tent. That, including pegs and poles, weighs around 900 grams, a bit less than 900 grams. It's really simple to put up. You just need 4 pegs, 1 at each corner, and it goes up dead easily. You can leave the inner and outer attached, put them up together, or you can detach the inner, put the outer up first. Yeah, so that's good. However, it is tiny. So I'm only 5'3", and when I sit up inside it, my head touches the roof, and when I lay down, my feet pretty much touch the floor. So if you're what I might call a normal sized person, if you're anything over maybe, I don't know, 5'8", 5'10", you're probably going to find this pretty claustrophobic. However, suits me. I like it. I did consider possibly taking a trekking pole tent, but I didn't want to take trekking poles on the trip, so I'd have just been carrying extra weight just for the sake of putting up a trekking pole tent. So that was my tent. If we just go around the bag, here I've got the Thermarest chair kit. Now, I was in 2 minds really about whether to take that. As you can see, it doesn't pack down very small. It's light, but this pack has these side pockets for storing trekking poles, and it fits really nicely into that. So I wanted to take that. It just works with your inflatable mat, and I was really glad I took that, because at the end of the day, you've been walking for maybe 8 hours, you sit down and want to cook your food, it's just really nice to put the stove on and then just lay back in this chair, or in this chair with your mat, and just relax, and just chill out afterwards. And likewise in the morning, sit out in the sun waiting for your brew to your water to boil for your brew. So yeah, really glad that I took that. The mat that I took with it is not a very well known mat. It just slides down the gap between the back of the pack and the main compartment. So it is the Pariah Recharge S, and it's a very small mat. I'll stand back and show you how big it is against me. But as I said, I'm a bit on the short side, so I can lie on this, get my head on it, and it's just my feet that are sticking off the bottom. I'm quite happy with that, and it fits really well into that Thermarest chair kit. So yeah, I've got longer mats, but I was perfectly happy using that. Also, just in that back compartment there, I took this polycryo footprint, just in case the ground was wet or wanted a little bit of protection from underneath the tent. I didn't use that at all, it's just stayed in there all the time, so that's fine. We were staying on campsites, so got pretty good grass pitches, so yeah, I didn't worry about putting anything on the bottom of the tent. Okay, going round, I'll talk about water in a minute, but in the back stretch mesh there, just got a Rab windproof hoodie. Used that a couple of times, first thing in the morning one day when it was a bit chilly, and then on the fourth day when we were at Lingy Hut, it was a bit of a cold wind, so I put that on for maybe about an hour, so that was fine. Flip-flops, hardly used those, but they were just to go to the shower, walk from tent to shower, and it was nice to get your shoes off at the end of the day, let your feet air, and maybe just a little bit of wandering around with these on. So I could probably have got away without those, but it was nice to use them for the shower. Just lightweight, just had them kicking around in the van, so use those. And waterproof, this is the Alpkit Gravitas jacket, unused, just stayed in there all the time, didn't need it at all. I took a risk not taking waterproof bottoms. As I said, the forecast was dry, and I'm just happy walking in shorts. I've got wet legs. Had the forecast been different, I might have taken a pair of running waterproof bottoms, but I didn't. Okay, water. So some people were saying, how much water do you have to take? It was hot, it was forecast to be hot. I didn't take very much, to be honest. So in this front pouch, that's got 500 ml of water in a soft flask. I put electrolyte tablet in that, and then in the side I just had a 1 litre platypus, and that's what I set off with every day, just 1.5 litres. I did take my Solomon flask with filter, so that's got a water filter in it. I didn't use that. I thought I might filter water as we went along, but I got away with 1.5 litres every day. A couple of days we did over 8 hours walking, so towards the end of that, I was, I'd drunk everything, but as soon as we got to the campsite, I had a good drink there, so I didn't need any more than 1.5 litres a day. That's personal preference. You may find that you need more, but that worked for me. Okay, and then also in that side pocket was a bottle of fuel. So this is bioethanol. That's 250 ml. So we were cooking for 4 days, so 4 breakfasts, 4 evening meals, and I've still got a little bit left in there, probably enough for yeah, an evening meal and a brew there. So 250 ml, that was enough. I'll show you my cook set in a moment. And then just in this front zip pocket here, I just had a buff, which I wore most days as a sun hat, and a pair of gloves which were never used at all. So yeah, that was that. Okay, the pack itself, it has a roll top, so easy access to stuff. Here just a little bit of closed cell foam to kneel on and actually put that in my tent between my tent floor and the sleep mat, just to stop it sliding around. And when I was using the thermarest chair, again, just put that underneath just to give a little bit more protection to the underneath. Okay, so talked about alcohol. What about my stove kit? So this is my cook kit setup. So this is a little homemade pot cozy, if you like. So just closed cell foam, a bit that was left over from insulating the van, and all my kit goes into that. So I've got a Sea to Summit mug. I only used that once, so the plan was, for example, for breakfast, to boil enough water for a brew and some porridge. Likewise with an evening meal, brew and some dehydrated food. What I found that I did was actually had my brew first and then had my food. So I just had my brew out of my mug, my titanium mug, rather than that, apart from one day. So I could have got away without that, to be honest. And then the mug itself, if I can get it out. So this has got everything in it that I need to cook. So a little folding titanium spoon, and then tea bags, coffee bags, etc. And then in here I have, this is my burner, the little tiny speedster stove. This is just a 20 ml burner, so that takes 20 ml of alcohol, and that is enough to heat up about 500 ml of water for a brew and a dehydrated meal. Excellent, that. Really can't recommend that speedster burner enough. They do different sizes, do a 30 and a 50. 20 is fine for what I needed. And then I have in here a little windproof lighter, so a little Soto lighter, so flame goes down to light that, and then just some spare matches in case the lighter doesn't work. Inside there I've got, this is a do-it-yourself homemade titanium windshield and pot support. So if any of you are familiar with the Storming Norman Coves cone setup, basically that's what that is, but I made it myself out of titanium. Really super lightweight and nestles in there. It's a little bit fiddly to put up, but it's summer, we weren't in a rush, we weren't freezing and dying for a hot drink, so that was fine. And then the only other thing there is just a little bit of material just to protect the ground, but we were on campsites on grass, so that was fine. The mug itself is the Alp Kit, I think it's the 650 ml titanium mug. Yeah, so that was all my cook kit. Food. So I took food for 3 breakfasts, 3 evening meals, with the plan to have 1 evening meal in the pub and 1 breakfast just after we set off. There was an option, we got to Keswick, we could have resupplied there, but didn't need to. So my food was just dehydrated food, but it's stuff you buy in the supermarket. So I took noodles. I'm not a big fan of paying 10 quid or whatever for a summit to eat or something like that, dehydrated meal. These soba noodles, I like them. £1.20, and 2 of those will give you 400 calories. I think some people think, oh, I need these expedition meals because of burning loads of calories. We were walking in the hills, not pulling a sledge across the Arctic. So yeah, I don't believe in paying loads of money for expedition stuff when you're not really going on an expedition. So noodles for breakfast. I did take 1 rice instead of noodles, where I got 2 dehydrated rices, put them into 1 Ziploc bag, and used that rather than just as a break from noodles really. And then other bits and pieces, just snacks, so peanut bars, Eat Natural bars, that kind of thing. Also I had a big bag of peanuts somewhere, so I took that. And then breakfast, similarly, dehydrated stuff, so porridge. Took 2 porridge sachets per day for breakfast. In the end, didn't end up eating all of those. Sometimes had just one porridge was enough. A couple of times we got a bacon butty as we left town. And then also in there I took loads of hot chocolate sachets. To be honest, as you can see, this is left over, didn't use those. A bag of sweet chili peanuts. I scoffed snacked on those just after evening meal. So that was food basically, not loads of it, but enough. What's next? So emergency kit. So I've got emergency toilet kit in there, thankfully never needed. A bit of emergency repair stuff. The only thing that I used out of there was a bit of elastic cord to fashion a washing line to dry kit at the end of the day. I'll talk about clothing in a moment. First aid kit, that's just something I made myself from bits and pieces put in there, not used. Electrical kit, just in an Alp kit bag. So I took a charger for my phone, I took a charger for my watch, I took a small power bank, and in here is my tiny Sunbleaser head torch. Only used that once for 1 trip to the toilets on Coniston campsite, where the toilet block was a little bit away from the tent and it was dark, but other than that one use, didn't need it. Recharged the phone once, and there's some power banks, solar power banks at Colbeck, so just put a little bit more juice in the phone on there. What I will say, I use the Coros Apex 2 Pro watch. I didn't need to recharge it, so the night before I fully charged it, so I set off with 100%. 5 days walking, recording GPS. I wasn't recording heart rate, just GPS, and we walked for about 35 hours, so on average 7 hours a day. When I got back to Sheffield, the watch still had 15% charge left in it, so can't recommend that enough. That was fantastic, didn't need to charge it at all. So that's charging kit, electrical kit. Wash kit, just mini toiletries. Had mini body wash, mini deodorant, mini toothpaste, toothbrush with the handle cut off, and just a little bit of ointment in there. So that was that. Towel, highly recommended. Sea to Summit Airlight towel. That is tiny, but the towel itself is not so tiny. So let's have a look at that. This is the size of it. It is super absorbent. It actually dries me quicker than the towel I got at home. So, and you can see what it packs down to. That was really worth taking. Glad I took that. Okay, so clothing. As I said, this is what I wore. Knew that the forecast was going to be good. So at the end of the day, washed all my kit. Not the shorts, but top, underwear, socks. Dried it, put those on again the next day. And then changed into clean kit straight away. So the rest of the stuff in the bag, I have just a Berghaus hoodie. I put that on at night after I got out the shower, sitting around the campsite. And then clothing. So it's just in a plastic bag. Pair of leggings, put those on just so they're getting cold. Slept in those as well. A long sleeve merino wool top. That went on straight away after the shower. Slept in that. And then just clean socks and pants, one pair. And then this, so I didn't take a pillow. This is just a Thermarest pillowcase. And what I did was stuffed my duvet jacket in there and some bits of spare clothing and use that as a pillow. I actually find this more comfortable than an inflatable pillow. I don't like those inflatable pillows, they kind of disappear in the night. So that was my pillow. And then finally in the bottom I've got my insulated kit. So my jacket is the Alp Kit Lomond duvet jacket with hood. So again, that went on the campsite at night and went into this for my pillow. That's really nice and comfy. And then my sleeping bag in the bottom is the Rab Mythic 400. That was plenty warm enough, and that all packs down into this, which is the Alp Kit air pump 20 litre sort of dry sack, and that doubles as the inflator for my my sleeping mat. So put the stuff in there, crunch it all down, get the air out of it, stuff it in the bottom, and that's it. And that is everything. So that's everything that I took, everything that I used. Just mentioned a little bit about the things that I didn't take. There's nothing that I didn't take that I wished I had. As I said, I could have got away without a couple of things, probably without that, maybe without the flip-flops, but they didn't take up too much. Obviously the weather made a big difference, or a big impact on what we needed. But yeah, so that was it. If you've got any questions or comments, then put them below and I'll happily answer. But that was my kit for the 4-night, 5-day trek on the Cumbria Way. Thanks for watching.